collapse it so that we can see what values I've taken off. Here you go. You will see negative values popping up here. And this is actually the value of our mouse movement to the left since the last frame. And if I go to the right, those will be positive values, right? And you will see they're all about like something between 1 and 5, depending on how fast you actually move. And notice how fast we can like turn around our player here. So we actually like churning out a float number, and depending on how fast we move the mouse from the last frame, that value is going to be bigger. So basically, if we have a bigger value here and multiply it even more with our horizontal speed, the tilt will get faster. Okay, so we are putting these on our X, and if you go over here around, float V, X and Y for vertical and horizontal movements. And the tilting was a little too fast, if you ask me. Let's just make this a 5. Let's save this now, and let's see what our game is saying. Let's just correct this again. Okay, we also don't need this debugging already. I think it was clear what our mouse input get access mouse X and Y is doing. The farther we move, the bigger is the value of the variable, and depending on the side that we move, if we actually move to the left and to the right since the last frame, it will be either positive or negative, which will enable us to actually automatically do this multiplication by a negative number so that we can reverse direction. So that's very cool. Let's make this bigger here a little. Now actually we have everything that we need to start. No, that is too fast. Notice here that our inspector variables are still the old ones, not the ones that we changed here, because once you actually change them here, they will stay that way even if you change them in your script. If you want to reset the values, I think you like right click simply here on the player movement name and say reset. Then you will have the original values of the variables based on the script. So notice that then any changes you make here while you are not on play, these changes will stay, although the original values will not be changed inside your script. But if I make any changes here while my simulator is working, I crank this up here a little and stop my game, the values will go back to the original values that they had before I started playing the game. But if I change them here and play again and stop, they will stay 10, although the values of my horizontal and vertical speed variables are still 5. This is also nice. This is important to know, so that you know that this enables you actually to tune the behaviors of almost every component of your game. Now the tilt speed is a little slow. I'm gonna crank this up here too, like 10. Let's use this 10. And then I also noticed that if I move my mouse down, it's actually tilting up. You can leave it that way, but I like it the other way. I like it to be default. There you go. I like it to default like let's just put them both into negative, so they actually should change their behavior, right? Let's see if it worked. play again. Okay, I'm moving my mouse down, it's moving down too. My mouse up, it's moving up as well. It's still too fast. I don't like it. So let's make a tree out of this. And let's try it again. Okay, it's looking better. Now we can move forward and actually fly around. See that? Let's go back, tilt a little. Hello. The tilting is still a little slow, so let's increase the speed here again. Let's see if something is happening here. Alright, that's much better, but that of course is too fast again. Let's leave it at 20. Let's see, we can look around. It's still a little too fast. Maybe we can leave it at 1. And sideways speed. Let's see. Sideways speed seems to be okay. Okay, this is, I think, the most basic setup of our movement script. I'm not quite happy with it yet because I would like to build in functionalities like boosting and acceleration and like slowly easing into a halt. Right? Like for example, if I move to the sideway and move forward and stop, notice that it actually stops right away, which is not very natural if you are like flying in a universe with no friction at all. So I would expect some like at least easing into a halt very slowly. The same with like the acceleration. I would like expect our spaceship to slowly accelerate up until it gets up to speed and stay that way, not the way it is acting right now. And I would also want to maybe build in an up and down function where it actually moves up and down only based on the arrow keys, and maybe by using W and S as well, but while keeping the left mouse button pressed. All these small little things to maximize our navigation in our 3D world, but we will do that by and by as we get there. And the last thing, since I have been overstretching again, I wanted to show you is the parenting concept. So notice that if we fly around here, let me just play this. Spaceship actually flies away, and this is not how we really want to later on. Oh, it flew away somehow. Let's get it back. This is not how we want our spaceship later on to be like. Okay, I can fly around. Can you see that? Cool. Alright, come back here. No. There we go. I'm sorry. It was just fun. This is not how we want our game to work, that you are actually flying away from the camera. The easiest way of doing it, although it's not very elegant, but we'll do it for now, is making this main camera a part of our player by attaching it to the player. So if I have this basic setup as it is right now, and I'm quite happy with it, with the way the camera is looking at our game object here already, maybe move it down a little. Let us see. Let's go to our player here. Maybe move it down a little here. You'll see on the screen that it moved down, so like here. And if I drag our camera now onto our player, that camera will actually become a child of our player. And what the child does is exactly what we would think intuitively about it. It will do what the parent is doing, so our player is the parent. If I hit play now and start flying around, notice that in our game scene you won't actually see anything because we don't have really any object yet for our orientation. But on our scene view you will see that our camera is actually moving with us. See that? And although in our game scene you can kind of see that the shades are changing because we are changing our orientation based on our directional light. So this is cool too. Now we have a player that can fly around and that is being followed by a camera, which is actually what we want to do. We don't want our spaceship to be flying away from us, but we want our spaceship to be followed by the camera so that we can properly play our game. That's one concept I wanted to introduce. And another thing I wanted to show you is, maybe let me just pull ahead and open our web page here. I'll minimize this a little. If I minimize this a little too, just give me a second. So if I select our camera, you can notice here that I can change the background color of our game actually. And I was thinking that I want to change that background color to the one our web page is using here right now. So we could like start experimenting around, but Unity has a very cool feature here. This is the color selector. If I click on it, you will see that the color keeps changing depending on where my mouse is hovering over. So I'm going over here and hover over my web page and click on it, and the background color of our game, or our camera for that matter, will be exactly the same as our web page. This is cool. This is what we wanted. This is what I wanted, in a sense that the game will like seemingly integrate nicely into our web page later on. And let me see what else we can do. So we have a basic movement script now. We have a camera following us. We have a square spaceship. And I would say that's it for now. Thank you everyone. Don't forget to rate and subscribe. See you next time. Bye bye.